begin with the news from the nation's capital. Former Trump White House counsel Pat Cipollone has agreed to appear before the January 6th committee on this Friday. Last week, Cipollone was thrust into spotlight following the testimony of former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson. Newsmax Chief White House Correspondent James Rosen joins me. Nice to see you, James. What's the latest on this?
Greta, good to be with you. When Pat Cipollone appears before the January 6th committee on Friday, the session will be recorded on video and transcribed, but it will occur behind closed doors, and Cipollone will not have to testify in public session. A graduate of Fordham and the University of Chicago Law School, Cipollone served as White House counsel for the final 2 years of the Trump administration. The quiet and reserved lawyer seldom appeared in front of the cameras. The notable exception, of course, was his defense of President Trump at his first impeachment trial, which ended in acquittal. The Select Committee investigating the attack on the Capitol has heard from other witnesses that Cipollone tried at multiple points to dissuade President Trump from contesting the 2020 election, and that he strongly advised against Mr. Trump joining the protesters at the Capitol on January 6. One former White House staff aide testified that Cipollone told her that if the president did that, quote, "we're going to get charged with every crime imaginable," unquote. Cipollone and his deputy granted informal interviews to the January 6th committee back in April. At that time, published reports said the two attorneys agreed to discuss the contents of only one conversation with President Trump from January 3rd. So it remains unclear how much Cipollone will be able to disclose on Friday, Greta, since former President Trump has not waived the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, Jim, a few questions. Number one is the conversation that he talked to them about in April was a conversation with whom?
With the president and Jeffrey Clark, who was a DOJ lawyer who was advising President Trump on various means by which he could potentially contest the election, prevent the certification of the Electoral College, etc.
And I have a hard time thinking, even like with this one coming up on Friday, why this is being done behind closed doors. I mean, first of all, we pay for it. Secondly, transparency is probably a really good thing. And thirdly is that, where there's so much intrigue and accusations flying back and forth.
A case could certainly be made that the public deserves to hear from Pat Cipollone directly. But as you know, from litigation, there's a lot of occasions where depositions are taken on video and then presented to juries without those witnesses having to testify in person.
Yeah, but the problem is that, look, this isn't a trial. We've been told that this is not a trial. I mean, they don't pretend to have a trial. They don't have rules of evidence. Hearsay is admissible. It's not a courtroom where it's not admissible. And the American people are being told things, and one political party, has the ability to edit and do what it wants with the tapes. And I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong, but that's a fact. So I err on the side of, let it roll. Let us see what everything is.
Mm-hmm. And, well, what's interesting about these kinds of processes, like impeachment was not a legal proceeding, it was a political proceeding, but it has a lot of what we call, this is a fancy word, the accoutrement of a legal proceeding. That is to say, you have counsel, you also have the threat of perjury if you don't tell the truth. For all intents and purposes, right now, this is functioning as a kind of trial, just without any defense from former President Trump.
I think that probably half the country doesn't agree with you on that, and half does. But let me ask you, at the White House, you're at the White House. Does the White House pay any attention to this, or are they busy they're doing their own, day-to-day running the country?
I think they keep an eye on it, but I think generally speaking, the Biden White House is pleased that these hearings are going forward and that this committee was stood up and it's doing the work it's doing. But they don't talk a lot about it, and I think they probably regard that Donald Trump might be the easiest candidate for Joe Biden to defeat in 2024, so they probably don't want to see an actual indictment occur against the former president.
It's funny. I don't know how much vision some politicians have in this country, just strategically, because, look, while the Democrats are cheering these hearings on, they like them, the Republicans hate them, is that people expect the Republicans are going to take the House of Representatives come November. That means in January, when they take the gavel, and we can expect hearings, and it's going to be open warfare on the other party. This time, Republicans on Democrats.
Right. It's called war between the ins and the outs, and it's been this way forever. Watergate was something like that as well.
But it's not smart. Strategically, it's not smart.
It doesn't help the country necessarily.
Oh, that too. Anyway, James Rosen, thank you.
Thank you, Greta.